Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the WCA 2015 European Pro Qualifiers. It's time for Hearthstone. Our two players are known in this scene for their multiple tournament wins. The rising star from the Czech Republic is StanCifka, and the powerhouse veteran from Germany is Lifecoach. Both these individuals are guaranteed to make it to China. They're playing in the upper bracket finals. Let's start the match.
Oh man, I'm so excited. Lifecoach versus StanCifka here at Gamescom, WCA European Finals. Those guys are playing the upper bracket final. What does it mean?
Yeah, they're playing for money now. Those two guys are going to China, just like it was mentioned, and now they're playing for 3,500 euros. So whoever wins this game is going to be taking away a lot more money than the other player. So this is when these players really start to battle, to really go for it. I'm really excited.
They are in a safe zone because they are invited to China already, almost. They cannot get eliminated from the tournament. But on the other hand, the winner is just going to play one more match, the grand final. So the winner of this is in the grand final tomorrow and will be just happy, you know, invited, playing for some good money, playing some Hearthstone.
But there's a tournament win as well. You know, these tournament wins mean a lot to these players. They get world ranking points. They get to outrank some of the other players who are competing against them. So it does mean a lot to win this event, even though they've secured the spot to China. It's glory they're after. These players are hungry. They want to win. They're not here just to get some chump change. They want the money and they want the spot. So
we talked about those players a lot during the last couple of days. But what's the most memorable moment from the Lifecoach's career that you remember?
Well, this week we had that amazing Druid patron game with Lifecoach and Clento took him down to 1 health, and he just couldn't finish him off. Lifecoach just fought really hard, he sustained, and Clento just had no answers. He ran out of cards instead. That was an incredible moment from Lifecoach.
I definitely agree. There was also the game where Lifecoach was super fast versus StanCifka, where he just opened with Azure Jake on turn 1, followed by Wild Grove, Pilot the Shredder. But from StanCifka, from his career, one of the moments that I remember personally was the final at DreamHack Bucharest, where he was fighting versus Firebat to take the win of DreamHack. And Firebat killed him on turn 3, but StanCifka never gave up and he took the whole match. Game 1 is ready, guys. Lifecoach versus StanCifka, his Druid versus the Zoo. Who is going to win this match?
Well, they had a game yesterday for the round robin, and that was kind of a warm-up game. They got an opportunity to kind of feel each other out, kind of figure out what each other is capable of what they can bring, and kind of the plays they'll make. So they've got some information on each other already. So it's very much, they've got a taste for this battle, and Lifecoach actually came out on top this time. So StanCifka's probably trying to figure out what he can do to flip that around today where it really matters.
Talking about flipping back, I think he gets a really good matchup to start with. Zoo versus Druid is very decent. Just want to play some minions early, pressure the Druid, and if you are able to, on turn 6, have some board where Druid is playing from behind, it will be very hard for the Druid to actually take the game.
Yeah, relying on the smaller minions at the start, Druid really doesn't have any small minions of its own to contest it. Naxxramas is definitely one of them, but they do rely on kind of trying to keep the board at bay. The Zoo player will just put on so much pressure, and then when the Druid finally drops its bigger cards, its bigger mid-range minions, it's too late. The Warlock's got too much control.
That's absolutely true.
It's a good matchup.
You want to, as Druid, you want to have the Shade, you want to have Keeper of the Grove. Swipe is great, but maybe Wild Grove Innervate to be able to play those cards faster, because if you play Swipe maybe on turn 3, if you play Keeper of the Grove on turn 2, those are the turns that really matter. Not only you kill a minion, but you also have something on board to trade into the future things. What do you think about Stan's hand?
Stan's hand's okay. He's got a Void Caller, can go into Doomguard. Has to play a Tempo Abusive Sergeant here to start putting pressure. But the Spider's great as well, very sticky minion. It's a minion you don't really want to deal with until you can deal with it all, or it provides no pressure. So that's a great starting minion for him. What do you think of Lifecoach's hand in comparison?
I think it's not bad. He has that shade of Naxxramas, Wrath to counter things, but it's not the best. Definitely he will be looking for Innervate Keeper. Swipe is okay, but Pilot the Shredder, just a minion that will be able to trade into minions and produce something else. Right now he needs to decide if he wants to use the coin and rough it, maybe even shapeshift, but on the other hand he doesn't have the follow-up on turn 4 and 5, so coin will be really important on those turns.
So Void Caller can find this Mal'Ganis now that's just come to StanCifka's hand. Mal'Ganis Mal'Ganis has had a major impact on some of StanCifka's games, especially against ties where you had like back-to-back Bane of Doom Mal'Ganises, and he got to play his own Mal'Ganis. So this card has done a lot of work for StanCifka this tournament.
It's one of the most amazing things when you have the Void Caller. You will be able to play it on turn 4, and then you have only the Prime Demons in your hand. But, you know, before the Void Caller is going to get played and before it's going to get killed, there is a couple of draws, so some small demons can sneak in, like a Void Walker, where you don't have actually the mana to play it, and then the Void Caller with the Void Walker in hand and 2 Prime Demons, 33% that you will be very unhappy.
See, the Void Caller is great for kind of ramping out or cheating out these big demons, but like you said, it can make some turns kind of awkward if you start drawing stuff like Flame Imp. You might have to maybe play off curve or not be able to play the Void Caller on curve because you don't want that Flame Imp, you want the value. So it can create a little bit of problems, but the effect itself can be extremely powerful.
Lifecoach took his time to think about this Wrath because he had also a possibility of a shapeshift. Just using the Wrath to cycle a card was important for him to maybe draw into something better on turn 4 than just a swipe, because there's not many minions that have 1 health. You don't want to play a swipe. You want to keep the swipe for the turn after Implosion. You want to play a minion on the turn. He picked up Innervate though. That's pretty good.
Innervate's fantastic. He could even cheat out this piloted Shredder. Sky Golem, actually. That's an interesting pick from Lifecoach. He's been using it in his Control Paladin in the past. I'm pretty sure he used it in Mech Mage as well, but this is quite some time ago. Piloted Shredder's not really been in the metagame that much, so a bit of a flavor pick for Lifecoach, something he enjoys, which he's used in previous decks. But yeah, you were on about turn 4. Turn 4 is super important for Drew because that's the beginning of when Drew can start contesting board and start putting pressure on their opponents.
I think this is the shade of Naxxrama's turn. You don't want to use Innervate and Coin as early unless it's a Thaurissan. If that Pilot Shredder would be a Thaurissan, I could understand putting in the board this early. It's an amazing minion, but on the other hand, it can just get killed by Power Overwhelming, and he will have trouble playing cards on turn 4 and 5.
I completely agree there. The Shade of Naxxramas can pretty much contest most of the stuff that StanCifka's going to drop. And StanCifka's board hasn't been too threatening yet. The Abusive Sergeant was a bit unfortunate for him. He had to play on tempo, got cleared easily. The Concrete is great, but it's not very powerful. So, yeah, I agree with that turn.
Oh wow. Man, atop the Keeper of the Grove. That's one of the best minions to counter the Void Caller.
I think, so Lifecoach is going to consider how dangerous his Void Caller is, and if we've seen he's probably seen a lot of mid-lock from StanCifka over this week, and they've done really well for him. They've really helped him get some wins, so he may consider silencing this Void Caller here just to stop this double Doomguard and Mal'Ganis in his hand.
If that Void Caller would be silenced already, the best play would be obviously attacking the Haunted Creeper and swiping this. That's still a play, but then you have to consider with 5 cards what kind of demon can get dropped. And if that's Mal'Ganis, you can't deal with it. If it's Doomguard, it's really tough. So hoping to get a Flame Imp or a Void Walker is not that good. I think I like the Keeper silence. You have 2 minions. Zoo doesn't have that much power. Lifecoach decides to go for a bigger minion though.
Alright, so he's just going to contest this with his own big minion. Maybe he's thinking if something big like a Doomguard or Mal'Ganis comes from this Void Caller, at least the Shredder can challenge it, or what comes from the Shredder.
Wow, that's a huge top deck. He can silence the Shredder, play the Imp Gang Boss, having 3 Prime Demons in his hand, run his 3/4 into the 6/4, getting one of the Great Demons, and finish it off with 1/2 Spider.
Yeah, that lines up absolutely perfect for him. Like I said, we were talking about these smaller demons, which can cause a little bit of problem for this Death Rattle effect, but he's got a perfect curve here with the Ink Gang Boss, like you said, into the Owl, and then even if he gets a Doomguard or a Mal'Ganis, both of them are fantastic for him. Doomguard's really awkward for a Druid to deal with. 7 health. They don't have hard removal like some other classes. They rely on damage and swipes, wraths, Force of Nature, so I think he's going to go for it. We'll see what he gets.
I wonder which card will be better here. I think whatever he gets, he's happy. Mal'Ganis can be tricky because there's a possibility of a Big Imp Hunter, and we know Lifecoach is running one. That was the card that helped him to win versus Colento in that clutch match. But how he decides not to attack, I can't agree with that much. Maybe he thinks that because last turn Lifecoach innervated the Pilot Shredder, he doesn't have the Keeper of the Grove, but in fact he does have it.
Yeah, I would say that's almost a misplay, because you've got an opportunity to get a Doomguard here, so you can put even more pressure on with a Doomguard. How does a Druid deal with a Doomguard on this board immediately? There's no real response. They're going to have to figure out, they might have to use Force of Nature. If you can get to use a Force of Nature early, that takes a lot of pressure off you from the combo, so I don't like going face it. I don't see the point in trying to put pressure on his life total. You just want to fight the board until you overwhelm him so much that he just can't
He
win.
would attack, deal even more damage if that would be a Doomguard. If that's Mal'Ganis, it can be dangerous in a way that Mal'Ganis can be killed by BGH, or maybe he is afraid of swipe, because if he goes for this, there's still the Shade of Naxxramas. Shade can attack into Doomguard, he can swipe, but there is the Gangball still alive after this. So this is a huge turn. Will Lifecoach decide to silence or not? He doesn't, so there is a Prime Demon coming out, and that's one of the Doomguards.
And he just coins at the use here, so we want to put as many minions down as possible to contest not only this Doomguard, but anything else that comes from StanCifka, because StanCifka is just going to constantly be playing minions. So the more Lifecoach has on board now, the more he can trade and start to fight back, and eventually he will outvalue the Zoo player because his later game is a lot better. But, you know, BlackRock and GVG really helps to get these stronger minions like Mal'Ganis, so Implosion comes down, gets a 4. He rolls very lucky there.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Just seen the swipe as well.
It was risky, but he took the risk. There was a possibility of just hitting for 2 and getting 2 imps, not killing the 6-3. But I like it. With this, he will be able to kill Shade of Naxxramas. I put only 4 damage on the Doomguard, where he has seen 1 swipe already. Another possibility was Bane of Doom into the Shade of Naxxramas and attacking into the 6-3, but it leaves Doomguard in a swipe, Wrath, whatever range can be easily killed. And Bane of Doom, sometimes it's not that reliable, even though we've seen Mal'Ganis from Bane of Doom many times before. You know, if you spend 5 mana and get that Blood Imp, it's not really helping you to win the match versus the Druid.
No, it's not great. You do need a nice mid-range demon from Bane of Doom for it to really shine. And if you get stuff like Blood Imp, it's really bad. Flame Imp is also quite bad, but at least it's a bit of a body. It can start challenging some of the minions on your opponent's side of the board. But Blood Imp doesn't really do anything. It kind of just sits there, maybe buffs your health, but it's not as great. It used to be really good back in the day, and stuff like was it Young Priestess was the other one, the 2-1 that buffs health?
Yeah, you were playing Blood Imp and Young Priestess as well.
But they didn't have as many cards back then. They didn't have as many expansions, so they're kind of looking for ways to help trade better. But now they have stuff like Mal'Ganis, Implosion, so it's not really, doesn't really see play anymore.
Do you see any other play for Lifecoach than just attacking into the 5-3 with the 3-2 and playing through the closed taunt?
I think that's fine. Very safe play. He's not very mana efficient, but his hand isn't really mana efficient on this turn anyway, unless he commits to Force of Nature, and that would just be a silly play. So Lifecoach is actually looking pretty decent right now, I suppose. He's got that Ancient of Law coming up, he can draw some cards, but StanCifka's still got some powerful threats in his hand, and this Bane of Doom's going to come down, and let's see if he can get a Mal'Ganis once again.
Let's see the demon, and that's a Blood Imp. Oh man, yeah, we discussed Blood Imp before. It's a really bad card. Maybe in the past, right now, just buffing minions. He can play an Rubian Egg, but he doesn't have the way to buff the Rubian Egg. I would even consider maybe Life Tap here instead of playing Rubian Egg. But on the other hand, you want to have something on board.
This almost feels like he's being punished. Well, for having so much good Bane of Dooms during the last few days with those Mal'Ganises, the game kind of figured, alright, it's time for you to get the worst of the demon cards, and gave him this Blood Imp, which is just not very good.
Lifecoach picks up Torisan, but I think on turn 7 he's still pretty good on health, 23. This board is not threatening at all, so I would like to see Ancient of Lore and Torisan after, but I can understand playing Torisan as well, because then you will be able to cast double Force of Nature. A 5-5 is something that Zoo will have to deal with. A single Power Overwhelming is not going to take care of it. But, you know, more options, you'll be closer to the combo, and then playing Ancient of Lore right now increases the value of Torisan next turn.
And not only that, he might be able to bait out some removal from StanCifka, maybe get him to use a Power Overwhelming on, say, this 5-5, then next turn, he might not have an answer to Thorson, so he draws more cards, he makes Emperor Thorson have more value, and he may be able to bait out some stuff. So I think this is definitely the best play.
There's even more demons coming, but because he's not able to play Doomguard this turn, he wants to keep Mal'Ganis, he wants to play Mal'Ganis on 9. And you know that Blood Imp is going to get buffed on turn 9, but for this turn, just Gangpulse and Voidwalker seems decent enough. They're not amazing. Voidwalker is going to block the attack from the 5/5. No way to activate the Nerubian Egg. So StanCifka slowed down a lot.
He did. Because Lifecoach had a good response to his board, maybe not trading his Voidcaller in earlier may have cost him, but in the end, Lifecoach didn't even silence it, so he didn't see it as a threat. And if Mal'Ganis does come down, you might actually see Blood Imp do something useful for a change.
Oh yeah, certainly. It is a demon, and that's important. He decides to go with the Void, with the Doomguard, and discards the Mal'Ganis. So StanCifka realizes that at this point of the game, he is behind. He wasn't able to pressure Lifecoach enough. He needs something more to just deal that damage and make Lifecoach play from behind. The Voidwalker play with the Imp Gangbus was really passive. He's just waiting for Lifecoach to finish the game. Not even with the combo, because it's not a combo turn, but just the fact that Lifecoach can keep attacking and building up the board is too much for Stanislav. Losing Mal'Ganis, though, is a blow. Like, he definitely wanted to keep it in his hand.
Lifecoach has a few options here. He can develop the board even more, maybe double Shredder if he feels that he's safe. This Doomguard, you don't kind of want to leave it alone. He has an option to maybe Force of Nature or even keep it the Grove and play a Shredder as well. So Lifecoach got a lot of decisions to make. He does go for the 2 damage here. Doesn't value the silence on the Egg just yet. The Egg is not that threatening. Since the pilot, the Shredder will be able to challenge it if it does pop out. So looking good for Lifecoach all of a sudden.
Well, definitely. He is ahead, and Stanislav needs to tap to get something. Picks up the Flaming, which is a terrible card. Lifecoach just setting up minions and preparing for the kill. And in 2 turns at least, pressuring Stanislav.
Knife Juggler comes down. He's going to want to find some good knives here. Then again, even if the knives are pretty decent, he can't trade them anything. He's got no attack on board that's active right now. And the Blood Imp keeps buffing this Egg. You want this Egg to be cracked open and release that Nerubian, but this Egg just wants to get bigger and bigger.
I think it's the fault of Blood Imp. The Blood Imp just wants to protect the Egg. That's his job. He got hired to just protect the Egg for it to never hatch. Maybe he's afraid of spiders, you know, and he's trying to like keep it intact.
I think Blood Imp has a lot more to fear from Lifecoach than a spider on his own side of the board. So Lifecoach here, again, plenty of options in his hand. Lots of powerful minions that he could come down. Looks like he's going to Wrath first, deal with this Knife Juggler. Can be really threatening with Implosion. Gets to get rid of that. So where can he go from here? He could draw more cards from Ancient of Law and make for us an even more valuable. Or it looks like he's going to go on the aggressive here. I like this. He's got a turn 10 double Force of Nature coming up.
And that's almost lethal if you look at StanCifka's health pool. And Stanislav will have to tap. Just 2 cards in hand is not enough. And now even if he clears this board, this won't be enough. Lifecoach has the kill in his hand. There is no love for Stanislav. Just another Nerubian Egg. It's just so sad. Well, the Egg is going to die at least, attacking Totori-san, but there is no way to defend.
The positioning of this Egg is a bit awkward, I think. If the Blood Imp was next to the Egg, he could actually use the Blood Imp to clear the Keeper of the Grove, and Imp would finally do something useful. But unfortunately, because of the way the minions are set out, he can't use the Egg and the Imp with the Direwolf Alpha, so a little bit awkward for him there. Finds the Loot Hoarder, more card draw, but it doesn't matter at this point. Lifecoach has pretty much got this in the bag, I would say.
Oh yeah, certainly. Just looking at the Force of Nature, but Stanislav, not even knowing that there is a Force of Nature in the hand, he just needs to do something with this board and assume Lifecoach has nothing, only blanks.
Okay, so the Egg isn't going to be popped once again. That Egg is still staying alive. He trades away there. What is this other card? Another Nerubian Egg. Really passive play at this point. Plays the big game hunter for some more pressure, but Lifecoach has got this.
Yeah, just Stanislav just went for the motions. Lifecoach attacking with 1 Force of Nature and the trends. Lifecoach is going to finish game number 1, taking a 1-0 lead versus Stanislav.
This was a good matchup for StanCifka. Mid-locks and Zoo-locks, they do very well traditionally against Druid because of the early pressure they can put on, but StanCifka couldn't find a win here. So let's talk about this Warlock deck. He's had some trouble with it in this tournament, even though he's gone so far. Do you think it's perhaps one of the weaker decks in his lineup just because of its performance?
Well, he has a Paladin, so based on performance, maybe. But on the other hand, like Paladin should have a bad matchup versus most of the lineups that other players brought. And I think Demon Zoo, this version, is actually pretty strong. I don't know what's happening. Versus Druid, he should have a good matchup where just pressuring his opponent with the minions. Some of the decisions were a bit questionable. Maybe he's playing it in too controlling way instead of just going aggro. But you know, sometimes the cards, they don't line up, and you can't win 100%. Even if there is a great matchup, it's 70% in your favor.
I think that last game was super important for StanCifka, simply because if he'd won that matchup, Druid would be left again, and mid-range Paladin can have a really good time against Druid, and that would have been a good matchup lined up for him again, but now he's lost that game. Druid's gone, and he can't line up any more good matchups to it, so now he has to run this Warlock into Patron.
Warlock into Patron, game number 2, and Stanislav, this time, he's getting a terrible matchup. This is one of the worst.
So he went from good matchup, which he lost, into bad matchup, so maybe
he can win.
Maybe he'll win, yeah.
Maybe he's good in bad matchups. You know, sometimes it happens that actually the players are thinking, hey, Druid is such a good matchup, why should I practice that? It's just auto win almost. And then Patron, oh yeah, I have this like 30% to win, let's practice that so I always win when possible. And suddenly players exactly know what they need. And against Patron, you need eggs. Exactly.
And eggs didn't really work out for him last game. That Bloodhim been a nuisance. Hopefully this time Bloodhim won't show up again and cause some trouble for StanCifka. So game number 2 about to start. Players have done their mulligans. We've got some nice early pressure here from StanCifka with those early demons. And Lifecoach finds that very important card when you're fighting Zoo, the Fiery Wind Axe as they call it.
Yeah, it's an amazing card, just dealing with the early aggression from the Zoo. But you know, when the Rubian Egg gets dropped, he will not be able to attack into it. And if Stanislav finds an empowerment, something that will be able, a power overwhelming basically, he can deal 4 damage, get a 4/4 minion. A Void Caller is also another card that's really important for Stanislav, but he needs some demons, that prime demons, Doomguard, Mal'Ganis, even another Void Walker. In this matchup, I'm not too sad about having an M-Gun boss from the Void Caller on turn 5. I like it. It's just another demon, it's hard to kill, and you want to have it in the very beginning of the game because you can't play it after turn 8.
So StanCifka actually taps there. He doesn't play the egg or the direwolf. That's interesting. Would you have liked to see a minion here to put some more pressure, or do you think it's just going to eat a Fiery War Axe? I
like the tap, because if you go with the wolf, Fire Wars is just going to kill it. You gain no value from the wolf. The wolf is there basically to work with Implosion. So after you have a couple of minions, you just trade those 1/1 minions. They become a 2/1s. So you trade into something and you can deal with the board. Nerubian Egg, he didn't have any follow-up for Nerubian Egg, and not really having a turn 3. So I like the tap. Right now, his situation changed a lot. But back to Lifecoach, turn 3. He can cycle Battle Rage if he feels that his hand is terrible, but if he feels he has some time because Stanislav tapped, he can just armor up and pass.
He's already taken 1 damage with the Fiery War Axe, so Battle Rage is active now. He doesn't really need to worry about that. He can armor up as he pleases from now on. He already has a lot of combo pieces in his hand ready for that turn 8 or turn 9, or even turn 6 if he just wants to build pressure with patrons. So he does go for the Battle Rage. He finds another Battle Rage, so he'll be able to cycle next turn. A bit more mana efficiency if he chooses to do that, but he's just looking for stuff like Gnomish Inventor, Acolyte of Pain, just little things to be able to contest some of the board, but not only that, draw more cards.
I like it. I like Battle Rage. There is a lot of discussion in the Hearthstone community. Should you Battle Rage on turn 2 or 3 if you have to cycle? But the card is there to basically cycle, to get more cards. Lifecoach is looking for Torison. He has the combo, which is amazing versus Zoo, but you want to play it as early as possible. Even without Warsong, just the fact that he has Green Patron, Inner Rage, and Whirlwind, he will be able to do it on turn 6. Play a couple of Patrons, and that's an amazing board to contest what Zoo has. Zoo has no AoE, as mentioned, so it's very hard to deal with that. Void Caller from Stanislav is pretty ballsy.
Yeah, nothing that can really come down from it. And he goes for the Battle Rage again. I like it. He's got the combo ready. He just needs the other little pieces to speed it up. But even if he doesn't, it's very hard for the Zoolog to contest a good patron board, even without the charge. And with a Fiery War Axe sitting in his hand, he can still clear a few minions. I think a Death Spite would be great for him. Maybe that's what he's looking for.
I'm just looking at his Void Caller, and you have to commend Stanislav. Just playing it without any demons in hand. Now he picks up a demon, so he will have some value. But he was brave enough to just put a bluff out there. Hey, this is my Void Caller. Do you dare to kill it? I have 6 cards full of demons.
And he doesn't want to find a Mal'Ganis this early. Not with a way to deal with it. He does find an Execute, though. Lifecoach has an answer to some of the bigger things, but there's only 2 Executes in deck. But he has a Big Game Hunter. That's something we've seen Lifecoach use this week. And it's paid off. He got to deal with a Throbbing Berserker in a really tense match against Kolento. And there's a lot of targets in the meta right now.
So Stanislav goes with the nice minions. The Void Caller got a lot of value because there is Gamgos in hand. It's a much better card now. What Lifecoach needs to do, he needs to prepare for the next turn. Next turn, he would love to just Green Patron, Whirlwind, Enrage, unless he gets a really good Brawl positioning, because he is running Brawl. That's a very surprising card. Most of the list doesn't have it. I think Savitz was the first to introduce Brawl to the lists. Lifecoach is just following up on this because he knows who is he going to face in this tournament, so he brought it, and I think it works.
Brawl's been really interesting for Lifecoach because I don't think we've seen him use it yet, but all the players here know he has it. So I think Tyz was saying that to me the other day, that Brawl was on his mind when he was playing Handlock. He has to be careful of it, but Brawl actually hasn't been played yet. It's almost just like a mind game sitting in his deck, planting that thought into his opponent's head. Has he got the Brawl? Can I commit to the board more? Would Brawl devastate me too much? So we haven't actually seen it being played. I'd like to see what he can do with it.
I absolutely love the part of Brawl. Just the Phantom Brawl. It doesn't even matter if he has it in hand or not.
That's a really good name for it, Phantom Brawl. It just scares players. It hasn't actually found any use yet, but we don't know. This is where the tournament really matters. Maybe Brawl will find its use other than just scaring people.
Well, this is not a good Brawl board, so now Stanislav on his side. Normally, playing this Imp Gang Boss would be the thing. It's a great minion. It's a 2/4. It produces stuff, but you don't want to have you want to have a demon in hand when you have a Void Caller on board.
Imp Gang Boss plays on curve perfectly, but like you said, if he plays Imp Gang Boss and then he deals with a Void Caller and he gets nothing out of it, it just feels a bit wasteful. Maybe he can just commit a Haunted Creepy here. Might be even able to tap if he's feeling like he needs more options for later on, but Haunted Creeper or tap, what would you prefer?
So if I could ignore Brawl, what I like to do as a zoo here, I like using Power Overwhelming early to pop the egg, because you deal 4 damage instantly and then you have a 4/4, especially if I have Void Caller and some other minions that are hard to deal with. You will have the 4/4 for a couple of turns, because you have to kill Patron before turn 8. You have to push yourself in a situation where Patron uses the combo, but then you have that Doomguard or something to finish the game after. If Patron takes the board, it's over. Like, you have no way to come back. You have no comeback mechanism. Your minion on board are your lifeline. I can understand not popping the egg as well, because if there is a Torison and that turn 6 is a Torison turn, you would like to use Power Overwhelming to kill it easily, to get a 4/4 and then start from there. But I really like popping the eggs earlier in this matchup.
Yeah, it would be a nice clean trade if he had the Forest and he doesn't have it. This is pretty awkward for him here. He goes for the Warsong Commander into the Acolyte of Pain. What's he planning on doing here? Just drawing more cards?
Yeah, it's just cycling, trying to get more cards.
A Patron board wouldn't have been bad if he had dealt with a lot of the threats StanCifka was playing, but last turn StanCifka actually played a lot of stuff, and the Patron board just didn't seem that great because he had options to trade. So he's going to need to wait for another Warsong Commander now for that turn 8. He seems he valued drawing cards and at least putting something down to put pressure on.
I think Lifecoach is mostly building up a Brawl position. He played cards to draw cards a bit to just force some trades, and to force Stanislav to play even more minions, to maybe sack some of the defrauder ones so that he can Brawl afterwards. And he has the tools. He has double Whirlwind, he has Enrage and Patron, which, because he picked up a second Whirlwind, might be a turn 7 play, but he needs to put himself in a situation where he clears some of this board and Warlock will not be able to just trade into those Patrons and kill them.
I like the Argus here, and I like the Owl as well, stopping getting some card draw. Warsong Acolyte of Pain may have seemed quite desperate from StanCifka's point of view because of how important Warsong is. But now, StanCifka's board is quite bulky, actually. He's got the 3-2, the 3-3, he's got a taunt wall.
That's the brawl turn.
So yeah, the brawl turn is going to be coming up, I imagine.
So after the brawl happens, 1 minion will stay. If Lifecoach is lucky enough, there will be an Acolyte of Pain. There is a demon being dropped from the Void Caller. There are spiders from the Haunted Creeper, and there's a 4-4. So after the brawl, the board is still pretty decent for Stanislav. But the Lifecoach will have a Whirlwind and Execute ready if he chooses to. But instead of the brawl, he's actually going for this turn 7 with double Whirlwind and having a lot of minions.
And he gets to trade away this Direwolf Alpha as well, so see a Whirlwind come down. So now he puts StanCifka on the defensive, forces him to deal with this board that's just been dropped. And the one thing I like about this as well, he's clearing out a lot of the death rattles and a lot of the board with these Whirlwinds. And look at this, he's got a crazy board now.
6 dwarves. And it's not easy to kill them, and Stanislav is also nowhere near just finishing Lifecoach with what he has. 17 points of health is a lot. He only has 5 damage on board, 4 damage in head. Turn 7. Dr. Boom is green, but you can't feel too good about this. You can clear 3 patrons, you can get an Imp. Imp Gang Boss is terrible for you.
Well, the Imp Gang Boss is a great card early on, but when you start getting to this stage of the game against Patron, it becomes a liability, because these patrons, especially with Warsong Commander, can create so many guys. It can create at least 3 to 4 guys with the Patron. And this is how this is why this deck's so powerful against decks like Zoo and Midlock, because eventually it gets to the point where the Patron will just overwhelm them with this one combo, and they'll never be able to fight back.
That's absolutely right. We are witnessing at this moment why this matchup is so bad for the Zulok. Lifecoach has Armor Smith. He will be able to gain a lot of health. He will be able to maintain a huge board. Can he clear everything? I think he can with Execute as well.
Yeah, Execute will definitely help him get rid of that.
Execute, yeah.
Oh, it looks like he's got a 3-1 Patron. That 3-1 Patron has done its job. It just needs to run into something. If it gets taken out, it doesn't matter. He can't spawn any more guys, so you can just use that there to run into another minion. He's got so many options here. It's incredible. Execute comes down. You can start getting some help with Armor Smith if he chooses, but he doesn't feel that threatened because Zulok doesn't have a reliable form of burst. They can burst you down with those powerful overwhelmings, they can burst you down with that Doom Guard, but it's very much a fixed amount of damage. You can kind of play around it quite easily.
What I really like about Lifecoach here is that he played really fast. He understood that he has so many patrons, and the animations are going to go, the armor, the patron in, the bomb is going to fly. So he started his actions really early. He took some time to think about the things, but in the end, it is one of the fastest paces of the game I've seen from Lifecoach.
Yeah, Lifecoach known for taking very long time to decide his stuff, but with, like you said, with Patron you've got animation to consider. They slow down how much you can play and the decisions you can make, so you need to be very quick on your feet with this deck sometimes, just deciding. 26 health, StanCifka concedes, he knows what this deck can do.
Lifecoach taking a second win, 2-0 versus Stanislav. Stanislav not winning the good matchup versus Druid, not winning the bad matchup versus Patron, and the last deck for Lifecoach is a Hunter. That's another bad matchup for the Zoo. He really needed to win versus Druid round 1.
Yeah, it was such an important game for him, and I bet StanCifka felt quite comfortable at the beginning, but now he's 0-2 behind. Yesterday, Lifecoach beat him, so Lifecoach is going to beat him in a match that really matters now. So StanCifka is going to have to pull out some really strong plays, some really good draws to be able to get back into this series.
Stanislav is an amazing player, but for me, it's really amazing to watch Lifecoach here in Germany, on the German ground, at Gamescom. A lot of people here of the live audience are rooting for Lifecoach right now to win. So it is empowering. If you look, you just, you know, you don't look at your monitor, you look at the audience, and you see all those faces just looking at what is happening and trying to root for you as well.
He's on home soil, you know, he's in his country with his people supporting him. I think this tournament is really important to Lifecoach just to win, not just for qualification, not just for the money, but he gets to win in his country. And he spoke to the audience yesterday, I think it was, in his native tongue, in German, and he thanked them for their support, and he was really happy to give a shout out to the people watching here. So I think this tournament is really important for Lifecoach in that respect.
Absolutely. But on the other hand, if we have people watching from Czech Republic, send your energy to Stanislav. He was banned from eating bananas on stage. So right now you can see he's really upset about this. He was eating apple yesterday, trying to cheat in a different fruit. Apples are banned as well, so he's not eating. It might be affecting his performance.
I wonder if he actually questioned the admins. Right, so I can't eat bananas? No. Can I eat apples? No. Can I eat pears? No. Can I eat oranges? No. Just went through all the fruits. Okay, no fruits
just in case. Hunter versus Warlock, game number 3. Stanislav has to win it to stay alive. If Lifecoach takes it, he is in the grand final.
And it makes his life easier. He'll have one more game. He'll be guaranteed 3,500 euros and a trip to China. And he'll have a chance to face whoever manages to climb through the lower bracket for 7,000 euros. So a lot of money, the prestige of winning this event as well, with some fantastic players involved. Lifecoach almost there. StanCifka is going to have to pull a really good win off of this Warlock, which has let him down in the series so far, but also has some kind of shaky performances over the week.
So let's analyze the hands a bit. I think at this point, having the Leper Gnome, you can quick shot the 1-3 and attack. This will create a lot of damage, and double quick shot is not great anyway. You will not be able to draw 2 cards out of it. It is a card that can be used for removal, but he's definitely thinking about playing a Haunted Creeper as well, because if he plays a Haunted Creeper, attacks with the Leper Gnome, those 2 minions, they do contest the demon. But he goes for the quick shot. I like it. Leper Gnome is alive and kicking.
He's alive and kicking. He can start trading with the Leper Gnome now, get more damage from the Death Rattle. He squeezes an extra 2 now he's used that quick shot. And Lifecoach, when he's making these decisions, he's not just thinking about the turn that is happening at the time. He's also thinking in the future. If I play this now, how does my hand fare later on? And that's what's really excellent about Lifecoach's play. He considers everything from turn 1 to the end of the game, and he plans it out. And this is why he takes so much time.
He is definitely an amazing player. On the other hand, for Stanislav, he had a Flame Imp and Abusive Surgeon, which means that he can't be too happy. Whenever you play a Flame Imp versus Hunter, you are crying inside. Some people started cutting Flame Imp from the deck because of the popularity of Hunters, so you play one Flame Imp only instead of 2. I'm not sure how many Flame Imps Stanislav is playing, but at least he got it earlier. Like late game, Flame is just a dead card, you can't play it. So some pressure there, but his hand is not that great. He will be able to Implosion on 3 and then just Bane of Doom. He needs minions. He needs something like Imp Gang Boss. On the other hand, Lifecoach is doing good.
Look at that Leper Gnome trade there between the Leper Gnome and the Flame Imp. Flame Imp did 3 damage, Leper Gnome Death Rattle did 2 damage, and Leper Gnome squeezed in 2 damage with an attack. So Leper Gnome on his own almost did 7 damage.
It's better than Fireball.
Yeah, it's better. 1 mana Fireball with a bit of spell power behind it. And that's how powerful Leper Gnome is, and people are saying it's quite a hard card to replace in these aggressive hunters. Even with this new Brave Archer card, Leper Gnome will probably get more value because it has a flat 2 damage from its Death Rattle. So Implosion come down quite early here. He's not going to be afraid.
Oh, that's an explosive trap.
I was about to say, he might not be too afraid of Explosive Trap, and I don't think we've seen us Explosive Trap from Lifecoach this week so far. I know Ty's definitely had one.
So they're teammates, so I'm sure they are playing very similar lists, even though there are some differences. That Explosive Trap is one of the key cards to win versus Zoo, and that also stresses why Hunter is so good versus Zoo as a matchup.
So now Lifecoach has the decision as, does he just hero power and let this trap go off and not give the opportunity for Stan to trade into his Haunted Creeper? Because Stan, if he knows there's an Explosive Trap, he can really use these imps and these creatures to maximize the value by taking out the Haunted Creeper, and the Explosive Trap becomes a bit less powerful. So hero power also probably would tell StanCifka is an Explosive Trap.
I think that's just a good decision to use a steady shot, pull, deal 2 damage. Stanislav will have to take an action. It's Stanislav who is in a hurry. Stanislav needs to kill Lifecoach before he dies to the continuous hero power. And the contrast of those hero powers, Lifecoach deals 2 damage to Stanislav with his hero power, and Stanislav deals 2 damage to himself with his own hero power. So Stanislav's life is just shrinking. If the explosive trap is dealing 2 damage as well, and with those imps having only 1 health, Defender of Argus is not helping. They will die anyway. With power, he might just deal 5 damage with one of those minions, or maybe 6 with abusive, but then he's still losing that minion. It's
a race between these 2 players, but you know, StanCifka is definitely the slower player here because of the damage he does himself. Lifecoach can kind of sit back a little bit, especially with this explosive trap. He's a faster deck. He'll deal damage faster, and StanCifka's damage comes from minions, whereas Lifecoach comes from minions and spells and hero power. So it's looking pretty tough. He knows it's an explosive trap here for sure, and he wants to start trading.
It seems like Stanislav is just praying for Mal'Ganis here. So attacking had some merit in the sense that you do lose the board, but then there's an Eagle Horn Bow will not get a charge. Non-attacking makes sense as well, because then Lifecoach cannot play the minions. You have so many minions on board that you want to lock Lifecoach into not playing minions for a couple of turns, and if he plays the minion, you'll be able to trade your imps into that minion and get some value out of them. But does he have time? The clock is ticking.
And that's the issue here. He had to weigh up, does he have time to pop this explosive trap? I don't think he... It's really tough for him, because if he had popped the explosive trap, he could start putting pressure on again, but he speeds up Lifecoach winning, he loses his board, and he gets no value from his minions, and then Lifecoach can start playing more minions, but here, like you said, he locks him into that hero power, but he's going to run out of time. This hero power is going to do so much damage if he doesn't react at all.
He might need to Bane of Doom his abusive Sergeant and hope for Mal'Ganis. If he gets Mal'Ganis, then at least he'll have an option, because he can attack one of the imps getting returned, and he has free minions, just getting an explosive trap, not dying to that. He will need to make a decision in the next 2 turns at least. Do I attack, or do I just concede and lose?
Argus does come down. That imp will still get taken out by the explosive. Unleash the Hounds for Lifecoach. Look how many minions are on board. They do have the taunts there, so it does make it a little awkward, but Lifecoach is just in such a comfortable position here. Like you said, Bane of Doom in your own dude might be the only way for him to come back, getting out Mal'Ganis, and StanCifka, he finds Mal'Ganis quite often, especially in this event.
I'm just looking at the board and trying to see if there is any merit in a Defender of Argus with Freezing Trap, but if you attack with the Defender of Argus, you're still losing everything. Sans Defender of Argus and the Void Walker, so the Void Caller.
So far, Lifecoach at 20 health, right? So most of these minions are going to get cleared. He's going to get a maximum of 6 damage if he attacks, because he's going to bounce the Argus. If you're going to bounce someone, you bounce the Argus. So it'll only take it. There's only 6 damage. Lifecoach can have plenty of health, whereas StanCifka is slowly dropping in health and letting Lifecoach build up more burst options in his hand while he keeps drawing and rinsing that hero power. How does StanCifka win from this without a Mal'Ganis?
I think it's a really bad position. He just needs to get the Mal'Ganis or something else. I wanted to say that it looks alright for Lifecoach, where Stanislav didn't have enough space on the board to play anything else, so he would be locked into attacking into those 2 traps. But now he decided to quick shot Defender of Argus to not give Stanislav a chance to actually return Defender of Argus to his hand and maybe set up a bigger taunt. Because, you know, Warlock can do those magical things like Nerubianek, Void Terror, then he has a big Void Terror, and also killing the Void Caller at the same time, getting a Mal'Ganis from hand. This can happen in 1 turn, even this turn. But so Lifecoach is playing around a bit around that. But Stanislav doesn't have those cards. He is in trouble still.
Lifecoach is probably considered to be playing quite slow for a hunter, but the situation is so much in his favor, he can take his time. And again, StanCifka commits some stuff to the board here. He looks like he's actually going to finally pop this explosive trap. He's going to start putting some pressure on with this power overwhelming. He needs to start dealing damage. Wait a minute, so the freezing trap sends that back, okay. The abusive sergeant, he gets 6 damage in. Still, Lifecoach is very healthy, and now Lifecoach can start playing some cards.
Finally, after all those turns, Lifecoach defined the new Hunter metagame, where you don't go face, you wait.
the patient archer in the trees, just sneaking some arrows in. But now Lifecoach picks up an owl. He could silence this void caller, and then he could play Unleash the Hounds, or he could hero power and Haunted Creep, set up a kill command soon. He can start putting on loads of damage and loads of aggression here, and all that waiting did nothing.
I like Unleash the Hounds, but I'm not sure where to trade yet. If I go face, I think I would actually kill the minions, because if you win the board versus Zoo, especially now when Zoo has only 2 cards in hand, you will be in a good position. But on the other hand, you're being aggressive, so you're forcing Zoo to trade against you, just putting them on 9. You have the kill command, you have a lot of beasts, you even have a beast in hand if the board is getting cleared. So you at least present 7 points of damage. If 2 points of damage remain on the board, Lifecoach is just going to take it next turn. Illidan, I was not prepared.
We were not prepared when that Blizzard announcement came out for the new expansion. Illidan shows up at Gamescom once again, so in tournament.
So a sneak peek of the new expansion for WoW with the Illidan showing in the Hearthstone match.
And Golden Illidan as well. I don't think I've ever seen Golden Illidan. But another thing to consider in this matchup as well, that StanCifka was always on a clock because of the hero power. And now Lifecoach decided not to trade, he went face. He knows that he's going to win in a few turns anyway with hero power alone, so it's just so tough. He needs Mal'Ganis to protect his health. That's pretty much the only way he's going to survive.
Yeah, because it seems that Lifecoach is going to put him on 2 next turn, and we'll be able to finish the game with just the hero power. If there's no Mal'Ganis, but on the other hand with Mal'Ganis, he'll only have 8 mana and no Void Caller, so he will not be able to play it. And with Eagle Hornbow, I think that's it. He has 2 mana on... We have enough... Yeah, he has 8 mana, so that's it. That's exact lethal. Eagle Hornbow, you kill the 1/3, you attack for 2, to the face, kill command, that's 5 damage. You hero power, you steady shot. Lifecoach sees it, he's going for it. 9 damage to face from the Hunter after passively just hero powering for a couple of turns. Lifecoach takes the match 3-0 versus StanCifka and advances to the grand finals.
And this was a repeat of yesterday. So Lifecoach keeping his form intact, playing really solid and getting that win. Unfortunately, that mid/Zoo lot did not do well for StanCifka once again. He's been struggling with it a little bit, but no, well played to Lifecoach there.
Really well played. StanCifka played great as well. I think with Druid, he didn't get the cards he really needed. There was this one turn that he maybe could have played differently, but overall, Lifecoach just outvalued him in the end in that matchup, and Lifecoach is an excellent Druid player. Then, you know, versus Patron, it's such a bad matchup, and Lifecoach, I think, had a good hand. He had that brawl, and you have to keep it in mind as well when you play versus Patron deck, that normally you can just overextend, it doesn't matter, nobody plays brawl, but here you not only play on the live stage versus Lifecoach, he has that brawl somewhere, the Phantom Brawl, so you, like, do I play the 4th minion? Do I really pop my egg into a 4/4? Because if there's a brawl, I'm going to lose it, so maybe keeping the egg will be better, and then just Lifecoach took the game with Patron, and the last game we just seen, just locking him with that explosive trap. If that would be a freezing trap from Mad Scientist, this game will be totally different.
Now, that explosive trap is devastating for StanCifka, locking him out again, like you said. And we had like a slow Hunter there, just pressing hero power, playing 1 or 2 things, because he knew he could just sit back and keep pressing that button, and that button was a clock. It was taking down his life. He had there's no healing in these mid-locks. He was going to win eventually, and StanCifka had to take the initiative. He tried his hardest with that power overwhelming, didn't really find much from it, and unfortunately he couldn't finish off that game. So Lifecoach actually advances to tomorrow now. He's done for the day. He gets to relax a little bit and then prepare for his next opponent. So coming up, we have Kolento versus Ties.
Kolento versus Ties. That will be an amazing match. It's an elimination match. So whoever loses that doesn't go to China and gets no money. Stanislav is still in the tournament. Stanislav advances to the Constellation Final tomorrow, but Lifecoach is on stage, I believe. He is ready. So let's ask some questions to our winner.
Thank you, gentlemen. Congratulations, Lifecoach, once again. Undefeated so far in this tournament, 3-0, representing Germany very well. Now, yesterday, you knew you were going to China, but what does it mean to you to know that you're going to the finals undefeated?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's, yeah, I'm feeling very good about it, of course, but I mean, even if sometimes it doesn't look like close, like they are all very, very tough matches, all very close, and yeah, I mean, it's also a lot of, yeah, I mean, you need of course preparation and skill, but you also need the necessary luck for it. So I'm very happy that I went also lucky. But yeah, very exciting matches anyways, and I would lie if I would say that I wasn't like super nervous before the match, especially like here in front of this crowd. It's like a special moment for me.
Well, one of the individuals I got to sit next to in the crowd, his name's Fabian. He really wants to take a picture with you. So will you go take a picture with one of your fans?
Absolutely, cool.
All right, let's make it happen, Fabian. Thank you so much, Life Coach. Well done, well done. We're going to get ready for our next Hearthstone matchup. We take a quick break after this. Stay tuned.